news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here, and updating our Food for the Poor holiday campaign, our partnership with Food for the Poor to provide food and clean water to starving children in Latin America and the Caribbean. More than halfway to our goal. We need a handful of more business benefactors, and of course we could always use some more individual donors to make our goal this holiday season and help Food for the Poor and the work that they have been doing for more than 4 decades. I do want to offer some thanks to some of our business benefactors, too many to mention in one setting, but Nexus Employment, IDsupply.com, Secure Controls, Chris Jacobs' team of Century 21 Circle, Applied Mechanical, MS Consulting, DSP Insurance, D&C Export Group, America First Contracting, and so many others. Thank you so much for your assistance and support for the program. And for more of an update on where things stand, please be joined again by Paul Jacobs, who is on-air fundraiser for Food for the Poor. Paul, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Dan, it's great to be back with you. And every time I hear that music, I'm reminded 13 days till Christmas.
That's right. TikTok.
TikTok.
And are you okay? I heard you may have had a recent bout with food poisoning.
Oh my gosh, it's making it to the Chicago airways. Please pray for me. And are you going to
be a Food for the Poor recipient?
I should have been. I probably would have been better off than Buc-ee's on I-95. Oh my God, I shouldn't have said Buc-ee's. But anyway, no, it wasn't Buc-ee's. It was just me enjoying my couple of days off a little bit too much. And my wife's always the voice of reason. I don't listen to it when I'm on vacation. And a few lattes and a few couple extra snacks at lunch. But imagine, we literally
Hot Pocket from Buc-ee's.
Yeah, right. There you go. Exactly. Literally knocked me out for the entire day on Wednesday. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to see that we're looking down the view of 13 days till Christmas, and I'm excited. I'm excited because you're here right now with so many listeners. We've had listeners from Greenville, South Carolina, to Chicago, Illinois, Lake Zurich, Downers Grove, Palos Hills, and Tinley Park that have all given to this campaign to get us to more than halfway to our goal. And it's exciting with just 13 days to Christmas to think that there are moms, just like the moms that are listening right now, just like those who have very important moms in your life. My mother-in-law was visiting with us. That's why I was off for a few days. She just left and headed back home to spend the holidays home. And I'm excited to know that at the end of the day, whether you give $150, providing 2 children food for an entire year. And by the way, that food, this program is going to be matched and doubled, providing twice as many children with food and access to water. Or you give a gift of $2,500, which is a business benefactor gift. Think about that. That's 33 children with food, access to food, because your business decided at this time in the season of the holiday season, that you would be generous enough to make sure that not only your family and your employees are taken care of, but also 33 children get to eat.
And just, I know a lot of people listening have probably heard this before, but some probably haven't. And, we're getting down to, as you said, the last couple of weeks before Christmas. And I just sort of want to reset the table with, the Food for the Poor story, what you guys do, how long you've been doing it, how you manage to provide food and clean water to families in these countries that experience real deprivation and oftentimes political instability, and yet you're able to get the work done anyway.
Yes, exactly. It's interesting. In about an hour from now, I have the honor to interview one of the priests who introduced the founder of Food for the Poor, Ferdy Mahfood, to the work of his ministry in Kingston, Jamaica, to the poor. And in that chance moment, that spark, that was really a culmination of God speaking to our founder. literally touched off 43 years of ministry to 15 countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, beginning in Jamaica, and it's continued through 10 focused areas. In this particular campaign, on this opportunity, we're providing food and access to safe water, but we've done so much more, like housing, education, providing agricultural assistance for those farmers. These are men working in these communities that have skill sets, and they can provide for their family, and they don't need a handout. They need a hand up, and that's what Food for the Poor exists to be. But the strength of the Food for the Poor in these 43 years is not only partners like AM 560, but it's also the pastors and local ministry partners on the ground, vetted ministry partners that not only can work as a kind of facilitating the work that Food for the Poor fundraises and fund and basically gets your gifts to help fund, but also make sure that the families are cared for 7 days a week. They're made sure that they are going to have a future. And so when you give right now, whether it's $150 or $500, whether you give whatever size gift you give right now, it's going to not only feed, it's only going to provide safe water, but it's going to do what Food for the Poor has been doing for more than 43 years. It's going to make sure that the local church at the local level in these countries are supported, resourced, so that they can continue to do their work in the communities.
Then you can make a gift of any amount, as Paul was saying, 844-862-4673, or online at 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. So over 40 years, it's interesting to make that point too about the number of people that you have taught to fish, so to speak, because you may look at it from the outside at the 30,000 foot level and say, gosh, I don't see much improvement in Honduras or Guatemala or Haiti over the last 40 years. But, there's one thing to look at it at that level, but there's another thing that underlying that is you have a lot of families that were set on a different course because the children you did get food and water to the kids, and there was infrastructure built, and they did get educated, and they have turned around at least that one family or that one neighborhood that's part of this one church. And sometimes you can't see that all the way here in Chicago, but that's sort of what I wanted to get you to talk a little bit about, how you see the impact that sometimes people can't see if they're not on the ground.
We all have our personal story where someone reached into our lives at a very tough moment. For me, it was a single father raising me, no electricity in our home, no running water in our home. Very little food to eat. My father working 7 days a week, at sometimes working 2 and 3 jobs. And it was Pastor Daryl Orman in Gardens Baptist Church, and a knock at the door that changed everything. And I saw that in Guatemala, in Gloria. When I happened upon with our team Gloria's home, it was a ramshackle hut. It looked like something that was poorly constructed in a backyard of scraps of rotten wood and rusted metal. I walked into this structure. I won't call it a home because it's just an insult to homes. And I found this little fire burning, her 3 children. She was permanently disabled and injured, and so she was very limited in walking, and her children searched the garbage dump every single day. On Thursdays, they went twice because the garbage trucks came a second time, dumping trash and bottles and cans, anything they could collect and sell back to a recycler. And I dare say if there wasn't anything, it may have been whatever was in those bags, their next meal. And only a year later, after we told Gloria's story, we came back to the airwaves. We came back to listeners just like you listening right now. We were able to tell her story because she was invisible to many people in America, especially in Chicago. And she literally, in a year, through the generosity of donors, through the work of our pastors in that community, she had her own home. The children were back in school. All 3 of the children, especially little 9-year-old Eveline, who really touched my heart, because when we visited her that first visit and we asked her what she had to eat that day, she says, I had some boiled water. That's all my mom had to give me. And she was crying because she was hungry. But when we saw her after the injection of hope and help, it was like I didn't recognize this family anymore. And that's what your gift is going to do. You're going to make these families unrecognizable through your generosity. And so I'm asking you, if you're a business right now, I would challenge you to be the first of maybe 20 that we get today, 13 days till Christmas, to say yes to 33 children, just like little Eveline, who is drinking boiled water on a cold day on the mountains of Guatemala. But you can make a difference right now.
And the way that you join those other businesses and others I was not able to mention that we began the segment with is to make a tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. And in addition to the good work that we'll do, we here at AM 560 will give you, your business, 41-minute commercials to air on our airwaves, prime broadcast hours, Monday to Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. It's not only an opportunity to do the good work, change families' lives that Paul was talking about, but it's also the best marketing deal in all of Chicago radio. We want to help your business, too, at the same time that you're helping these kids and families in Latin America and the Caribbean. And, a lot, you probably recognize a lot of the businesses that I mentioned, they sort of, the entree into advertising on AM 560 and benefiting their business is the Food for the Poor program, and they go on to become longtime advertisers with us, which, of course, we appreciate as well as great partnerships. To become a business benefactor, you just call our general manager. His name is John Gallagher, and you call him at 847-472-8950. Again, to join the Business Benefactor Program, and as I said before, we really need donor leadership from the business community to reach our goals this holiday season. John Gallagher is the man to talk to. His number is 847-472-8950. And Paul Jacobs is also the man to talk to. And Paul, thanks so much for joining us as always. We appreciate it.
It's an honor, Dan. Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you and your listeners.
Merry Christmas. Paul Jacob joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You know me. I believe in freedom, independence, and the values that built this country. Now, I'll be the first to say President Trump has taken the steps towards reviving our economy. But inflation, trade deficits, and global uncertainty are hitting hardworking Americans where it hurts.